Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and this is a Heel Heat Top 10. The topic of this Top 10, the wish list for All In. Now if you're not familiar with All In, I don't know what rock you've crawled out under, but All In is a show being co-promoted by Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. It's basically turning into a independent WrestleMania. No company's backing it. It's 3 guys doing it. It's already sold out. This is my wish list of what I'd like to see at All In during the show. Let's jump right into it. Number 10. If you've been watching Being Elite and watching Ring of Honor, an ongoing storyline is Flip Gordon not being on the show, trying to get into the show. I think that we need to see Flip sneak his way into a show, either dressed up as Bernard the Bear or as a fan under a mask, but something to that effect. I don't want Flip to get in because he's earned his way in. I'd like to see him sneak in, and I think that'd be a cool little thing to add to the show, to have him get in that way. Maybe during the reveal, during Cody Rhodes' mask, Bernard the Business Bear takes off his head after helping Cody win, and it's Flip. So the guy that Cody hates the most is the guy that helped him win the championship. Number 9. With the overwhelming success of the show, I would love to see them sometime in the show announce that they're going to do an All-In 2. Whether it be next year, 6 months from now, and maybe up the ante. Maybe instead of 10,000, go to 20,000 or 15,000 seats. Like I said in the beginning of the show, this is turning out to be like an independent WrestleMania. So why not make it a yearly event? Maybe, I understand that the constraints of booking and putting their money behind it might be too much for the Bucks and Cody to do it all every year. So maybe get someone to back it. Maybe some companies. There's companies I know that are dying to back this because of the success of this. So why not do it as a once-a-year super show where the fans get to see it, fans get to go all in. There's a lot of people that didn't get the tickets, so maybe we move part 2 to New York or somewhere else, Toronto maybe, to give other people in other parts of the country an opportunity. And I know people are flying in from everywhere, but like I said, I'd love to see him announce part 2 during the show at some point. Now, number 8. This is something that's almost certainly going to happen, kind of like with the Flip thing. It's almost certain Flip's going to be there at some point. But we need to have a one-off dream match, something that we're not going to see anywhere else. We have the likes of Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, Pentagon Jr., and Rey Mysterio on the card. Any matching of those guys, Pentagon versus Omega, Okada versus Mysterio, Mysterio versus Omega, you got dream matches that can be made. Not just with these guys, there's other people on the card as well. But you get my drift. We need to have a match that we're not going to be able to see anywhere else due to people's contracts, like Pentagon's with Lucha Underground. So we're not going to see him in the G1. Or Rey Mysterio, who's kind of a freelance, but when he goes to New Japan, it's considered a junior, so they may not put him against Okada. Let's do it here. Let's do it on this show, which I'm almost certain will give us at least 1 or 2 of these kind of matches that we're never going to see anywhere else. Now, number 7. This might just be me talking, but I love Battle Royals, and I'd love to see them add a Battle Royal. If you look, they've already got quite a number of people booked for the show. And there's also more people that are booked for the StarCast podcast convention. Some legends, some new wrestlers. Why not put together a battle royal with some of the legends, some of the newer guys, some of the guys that you've already booked that you don't necessarily have an idea what to do with, and just throw a fun little battle royal. I mean, I can't be the only one that likes them. I know there's other people out there that do. I think they're fun. I think they're interesting, especially when you throw in the mix surprises and you throw into their legends. So someone shows up that we haven't seen in a while in the Battle Royal. Just makes it all that more cooler. Now, our number 6. Speaking of someone showing up, I know contrary to what he said, Chris Jericho's came out and said that he will not wrestle or do anything in America without Vince McMahon's blessing. He's also thrown us off the scent when doing his New Japan stuff. So our number 6 is, I would love to see Chris Jericho show up in the show. We know he's worked with Kenny Omega in the past. We know he has a match coming up with Naito coming up soon. So, the grounds are already there. Most of the guys on this show, the Ring of Honor guys, are going to be on his cruise coming up in October. So why not do them a favor back? You can add this into number 8 and put him in with potential dream matches. But I'd love to see Chris Jericho show up, and I know he'd bring that special factor to the show. Not that it's lacking it, but he would add a little bit more. It's kind of like a really good steak. You loved a really good steak, but Jericho might be the really good mashed potatoes or baked potato on the side. Not that the steak wasn't great on its own, but the baked potato added just a little bit. Now, our number 5. Again, based off being the lead, this is one that I can almost guarantee is going to happen, and it needs to happen on the show. And that's Hangman Adam Page versus the Ghost of Joey Ryan. Everything they've done is leading up to this. They have to have a showdown at some point. It's either going to be here or Bar Wrestling or PWG, but it has to happen. We have to have Page versus Joey Ryan and see whose dong is the strongest. I mean, it sounds ridiculous when you say it, but if you watch Being the Elite, you know it's an ongoing storyline and it's got to pay off. So I'd love to see it pay off here. It's the perfect opportunity. It's the perfect show to do it on. Now, our number 4. Another thing that's been heavily hinted at on Being the Elite, especially the last couple episodes, is Jay Lethal turning and reverting back to Black Machismo Jay Lethal. I'd love to see him come out and do another match in the Black Machismo character. The Ring of Honor show I just went to a couple months back, he did a little bit of it. He brought out Lanny Poffo and did some. And he's done a couple times in the past where he's gone back and done the Black Machismo. I understand he's a more serious character, but this is a fun show. Why not do a one-off where he's back in the character? I love Jay Lethal either way, so even if he doesn't, I like that he's going to be on this show. But it would be great to see him revisit that character, bring him back out, maybe even have SoCal Val coming back out with him again. Who knows? I think it would be great. I think it would be another little thing for the fans. Like, they've been longtime fans like myself, and a lot of you guys are, that have liked Jay Lethal for the past decade plus. It'd be a cool little thing to see him do the Black Machismo character again. Now, our number 3. This one, they've gone back and forth on whether it's going to happen or not. And a lot of it has to do with contracts. And that's, they need to stream the show. Who would have thought that 10,000 seats was not going to be enough? It's crazy that they sold them out in less than 30 minutes. So to counter that, for all the people that couldn't get tickets, people like myself and a lot of others, or just couldn't afford to go to the show, couldn't afford to fly in, couldn't afford to buy the hotel, all that good stuff, let's stream it somewhere. Let's put it on for people to watch. Now, most likely they're not going to get conventional pay-per-view on television. Your most likely bet is either having New Japan World cover it, Ring of Honor's Honor Club cover it, putting on Fight TV, or at the very least, streaming it on YouTube or Twitch. And make it something you pay for. If you pay $10, $20, it's just another revenue stream for them. It'll help them offset some of the costs for booking some of these guys, which I'm sure they've already done with the arena booking, with all the seats that they've sold. But helps a little more. Maybe gives them a reason to do an all-in number 2, which is something I think we'd all want to see at this point. Now, our number 2. I touched on it a bit when talking about Flip, and it's not necessarily that it has to be this specific one, but there needs to be a title change. Something to give this show importance, whether it be the announced NWA World Heavyweight Championship match between current champion Nick Aldis and Cody Rhodes, or something different. Maybe New Japan lets them change the Never Openweight Challenge on there, or Championship, I'm sorry. Or Ring of Honor lets them do the TV title change there, or a 6-man title change there. Something interesting, something to give to the historical nature of the show. It'll just add a little bit of prestige, whether it's the NWA title changing, whether it's a Lucha Underground Trios title changing, whether it's the Impact Wrestling Divas Championship. They do have Tessa Blanchard on the show, so that's a possibility. Just the fact that they have some sort of title change, maybe multiple title changes, I think will add to the credibility, add to the historical nature, add to the prestige of the show. And I think it's something that would be cool, even if it's, like I said, even if it's something like a PWG title change. Not to say that PWG is nothing, but in my opinion, it's going to help out anybody that lets them do it. If the NWA title change is there, it's going to help out the NWA. Same with Ring of Honor, same with New Japan. All these guys are looking for other avenues to bring in fans. So why not do something like this on a show we know is already immensely popular? Probably the most popular independent wrestling show outside of WWE in the last 30, 40 years. I mean, this is big, guys. So have something big happen there. Give a reward to the fans at work that bought tickets and showed up, or that bought the stream if it does stream. Now, before we get into our number 1, we do a little thing here on Heel Heat called the Best of the Rest. Basically, it's stuff that was considered for this, and it just didn't make the list. First up, we need to have Marty Scurll singing. Another one that's almost a guarantee, but somewhere in the show, maybe at an intermission, have him come out and sing at the end of the show. I mean, we're going to have him there. We're going to have Papa Buck there. Frankie Kazarian's going to be there. So we got a band. He could sing an original if necessary for copyright rights, or do a cover of Britney Spears or Backstreet Boys. But it's something that's been added to his gimmick that's really fun, that the fans love. I like it. I think it's amazing. It's just another fun thing. Let's make, as much as we can make the show fun and important, let's do it. So why not add him singing? Now, next up, this may be the soft landing spot. This could be the perfect opportunity. I've seen many times the Young Bucks in interviews have said that they want, if they were to add someone to the Bullet Club, it would be their idol Hulk Hogan. So why not have a Hulk Hogan appearance here? And yes, I know, there's still some backlash out there. However, I think this is the softest of soft landing spots. If he goes to WWE, the fans are not going to be as forgiving as these fans are going to be. The All In fans, the Bullet Club fans, they may be a little bit more forgiving. Maybe this is how Hulk Hogan gets back into the graces of wrestling. And maybe for some people he never makes it back. I'm a person that believes in redemption. I believe he's truly sorry for what he said. I believe that he's been remorseful. And he's Hulk Hogan. I mean, 90% of us would not be watching this if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. So, maybe this is a soft landing that brings it back into the good graces of wrestling fans. Or at least opens the door for that possibility. That being said, That is our best of the rest. Before we get into number one, if you think I put up something too high, put something too low, there's a topic that I left off that you may want to include on the list. Let me know what you think. Hit me up in the comments down here. Make sure you hit like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing here. And finally, our number one, and probably the most predictable, the thing that we want on our all-in wish list, and I'm pretty sure every wrestling fan is going to agree with me, the return to wrestling of CM Punk. Much like I said with just now with Hulk Hogan, the opportunity could not be better. It's in Chicago. It's his friends that are putting on the show. He's got a warm crowd. He's going to be coming off a UFC fight a couple weeks before the show. All the cards are lined up. He's going to be at Pro Wrestling Tees signing autographs the day before. It's heavily rumored that he's going to be at this show at some capacity. I would love to see him wrestle. Again, going back to the dream match scenario, who wouldn't like to see CM Punk versus Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, Pentagon Jr., maybe Colt Cabana, or a Punk and Colt Cabana versus the Young Bucks. There's millions of ways you could go with this. CM Punk versus Jay Lethal. There's tons of matches that could be made if he wrestles. If he's even just a commentator, or a guest ring announcer, or a guest referee, let's get CM Punk back into wrestling. We miss him. The fans miss him. It's evidenced by the chants we hear all the time. Maybe it re-sparks his love of wrestling, and he decides to come back to Ring of Honor or New Japan. Or maybe this is just a one-off, giving us the proper goodbye that we never got. Because we kind of got, he left after a Royal Rumble match. We never really got a goodbye to CM Punk. So maybe this is it. Maybe this is the opportunity. But basically, that's all I have to say on this. This has been George Coles with another Heel Heat Top 10.